Hello, here I am. Here I am today to talk about just a wide array of eclectic assortments, just just things that are very interesting to me. Let's say things are very interesting to me and things that people should know. Things that I think is knowledge that people should have for free. People should know these things for free. This is not some Guru Shishya. I mean, yes, I do respect the Guru Shishya Parampara, and I do think that knowledge should only be passed on to people who are ready. But I think in a day and age where you can access the most grotesque forms of humanity online with a simple click, I don't think knowledge such as this should be hidden from people. And yes, so here I am. Here I am to pass on the torch of Prometheus to everyone, and so that these lesser mysteries of life with more clarity and how they relate to each other, and how essentially they're all talking about one thing, the same thing, repeatedly over and over again. Anyway, so you climb these 33 steps. This is something I made a long time ago. This was a gift from my crow friends who kindly passed on this to me a month or so ago, I think. And it's the entire thing. It's the entire thing from the perineum all the way till the atlas bone, till the cervical. So the entire, very strangely enough, so I'm very happy with the little gifts that these friends of mine give me. And all of them have some meaning or the other every now and then. So I didn't really draw it from reference of that. That I drew a while back, and I never really got to finishing it. There's a lot that I want to do with it. So it starts with the lowest bone, the perineum, the coccyx bone, the fused bone at the bottom, and the ladder goes all the way up till the atlas bone. The atlas bone is called thusly maybe because it is holding the world up, right? The atlas bone is holding the skull up. It's the last bone, and a lot of people have a bent atlas bone these days because of constantly looking down at their phone. So the spine, the ladder. The spine is a ladder through which you descend from the lesser qualities of your being to the highest qualities of your being. You start with the Mooladhara, the base principle of your body, the coccyx, bone, the perineum. Alright, you sit in a Siddha asana and you stimulate this part of your body that is relatively beyond your senses. Remember this when I say this, it's beyond your senses. For most people, this muscle does not exist. Like they have no control over it. For most people, bending just the tip of the finger is difficult. For most people, a lot of things are difficult because a lot of the parts of their bodies have entropied because their brain has lost connection to these parts. So they don't even know that they have a part in their body that they can access, that they can move, that they can stimulate, right? That they have control over. So in some ways it is beyond the senses of a normal person to control this muscle, to clench this muscle, to because it has entropied. For those of you for whom it is easy to isolate this muscle to this place, to center your awareness at this place, sit in Siddhasana and do a Mula Bandha. If you can do a Mula Bandha, if you can understand what a Mula Bandha is from reading online, right? So this place, this bone, this fused, almost animal remaining vestigial, right? This is like a tailbone. This is the lowest, the spade. This is the spade at the bottom. So it's the animal vestigial of your being, right? So it is denoted in the yogic terms by the Mooladhara, right? The Mooladhara. Okay. So the lowest center of energy in your body, the base principle, the Mool Adhar, the base principle of your body. Okay, for most people it has entropied, or for most people it's not accessible also, because a lot of people are so out of touch with their body. I teach meditation, so I speak from experience, and I don't just say this very lightly, but most people have lost control of it, or have no control of it, have a very disbalanced Mooladhara, let's say. Because firstly, they've not even isolated that there's a part of their unconscious being. That there is a part of their unconscious being, the upside down triangle. Right? That they have a part in their body that they can, through their mind, make to move. So Mula Bandha is the exercise, is the asana, is the meditative posture that is ascribed to stimulate this place in your body, so that this coiled energy at the base of your spine, which is also, by the way, the same representation of a shivling with the coiled Vasuki on the shivling, right? So I hope people are happy with the references and the truth bombs that I drop every now and then. I think that they are insightful. I hope that they are insightful for you as well. And I hope the thing that I do is, is people get something out of it. No, it's not just, it may be just absurd rambling. I don't deny it, but I hope that you get something of value out of it. And my work is also, I feel, valued enough. So when I make videos, I make it a point to give a lot of information in a small amount. So I would request you, for a lot of questions that I receive, to re-watch the videos that I have uploaded before, and you'll get an answer for most of the things that you reach out to me for. Now moving back, the shivling, the lowest center of your body. Alright, this center dictates the base principle aspects of your being. The base essential aspect, the basic survival aspects of your being, food, money, sex, maybe just the basic survival aspects of your being. And when it is disbalanced, it can spiral your life out of control because you don't know your axis. This is the axis on which the entire system runs. So if you don't have control over this place, if you haven't really physically isolated it, and then once you physically isolate it, you understand the psychological properties that this center of your body has. It has psychological ramifications when you start accessing this unknown realm, this beyond your senses. This place is beyond most people's senses, right? So when you start accessing a muscle that is beyond your senses, and you force your senses to expand themselves and reach out to this muscle. So I tried the pause feature for the first time because someone was at the door. Alright, so the base principle aspect of your being, aspect of your being, when you start accessing it through your muscle memory, once you force your brain to expand its capacity on control over your body, once you force your brain to literally form new neural pathways to expand and or access old neural pathways that were dormant or had calcified, let's say, or had died for a long period of time, they were not utilized, so you didn't even know that this part of your body could be moved, right? That's what Hatha Yoga is, to move your body in postures that it hasn't been moved before. So your brain expands. Your body is expanding, so your brain has to expand to stimulate that extra length that your body is trying to accomplish, right? So the Mooladhara is the starting point for spiritual evolution, though that is not where spiritual evolution is supposed to begin. It's supposed to begin in the third eye, in the Agya. Alright, it's supposed to begin in the third eye. And from what I understand, Agya and Bindu Visarga, Visagraha, I lose that pronunciation, but are just pineal and pituitary glands. They are that, essentially. They are physically that, but they function a higher purpose as well, in the sense of perception, in the sense of cognition, in the sense of the consciousness that you're experiencing. So it is better to open the Agya first, the third eye, before you move on to this place. Because is this a bone? Alright. So this place, before you move to this place, it is better to open that, because then you will have more control over the experiences that you're having, because you will have a third person's perspective. Through the third eye, you will have a third person's perspective of the experiences that will follow. If the experiences start here, then you would have no sense of perspective over what is happening. Things will just happen to you and you would have no explanation for it, and sometimes really bad things might happen to you and you might have no explanation for it. Through the third eye, you get a higher perspective of your lower aspects, or you get a higher perspective of the other channels of the energy center in your body that you are opening up. All of these centers in your body correspond to good qualities and bad qualities. If the center is not working properly, the good quality might not manifest as is supposed to, and the bad quality might manifest as it's not, even though it's not supposed to. The bad quality will manifest if the center is unbalanced. So people can really get trapped in the survival mode, and they can't think outside their survival mode. They can't think outside their job. They can't think outside these they have very limited sense of their identity. They think that they're only this one person who goes on from childhood all the way till adulthood, and he has to behave in a certain fashion, and he has to do certain things, and he has to be a certain way. And because that's what society, he doesn't develop the individuality to start traveling on the ladder. He hasn't developed that individual sense of self. Through that, you understand that all is the self, but the beginning part is the individual identity of the self, wherein you try to form a unique identity and not base yourself on others or what others say or how others are. You look at someone else and you say, मेरे को भी ऐसी बनना है, उसने बाल बढ़ाए मेरे को भी बढ़ाने, उसने ये करा मेरे को भी वो करना है. I get that a lot of times, and it is good to look at figures, but they are just figures, and we are just humans everyone is just human at the end of the day, right? So don't base your sense of idealism on other people. Develop your own unique identity, and that is one of the first steps that you can do in some sort of self-development, or this ascension, this ladder that you have to climb, right? So the Mooladhara is the first one that you start at the journey, but you should open the Agya first, as I said. Once you open the Agya, you will have a clearer understanding, and then you will have the Guru within to guide you through the entire process of this. Now, for some people, merely opening Agya can drive them insane. For that, I have nothing to say except that life has risks and things are not always what people expect. So get used to it, and life has risks. Yeah, what else do you want me to say? You can't wear a mask for the rest of your life. You cannot behave the way that you are behaving in that hypochondriac fashion for the rest of your life. You have to take a risk somewhere in your life. So take a risk, and whether you want to take a risk or not, that is totally up to you. It is as risky as taking excessive painkillers, or taking psychedelic drugs, or drinking alcohol. It is as dangerous as anything else in life. Okay? So it's dangerous. Everything is dangerous in life. Crossing the road is dangerous. So we are now going to talk a little bit about the ladder. I am going to essentially inherently talk about all the energy centers. But today I thought that maybe spending a little time on Mooladhara is good, because we're already 14 minutes in. I don't think people watch videos that long these days. So these energy centers are also very fascinatingly, I really like this danda in the skull, by the way. These energy centers are also very biblical in a lot of ways. I'll tell you how. Okay, so here you have Nicodemus and Christ speaking to each other, and the entire passage is very nice, so I'll read the entire passage for you. Jesus answered, I tell you the truth, no one can enter the kingdom of God unless he is born of water and the Spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but the Spirit gives birth to spirit. You should not be surprised at my saying, you must be born again. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone, so it is with everyone born of the Spirit. So really insightful for me as well right now as reading it. You hear it, the wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. This is a quality that I don't want to be proud about myself, that I've displayed over and over again by moving like the wind. I do something, like I started an Instagram channel and I was really happy with that, and I posted some really heartfelt content on that, and then when its time had ended, I moved on. Then I started a Telegram channel, and when its time had ended, I moved on. So I move on from the so I don't think of it as some sort of an accomplishment. It is just something that I'm doing as I'm going along, and a lot of those things in their own right are great accomplishments, I think, though I never give myself enough credit for all of that. But I do it simply because that needs to be done at that moment. There is no it's only the present, so it has to be done at that moment. I pass on the knowledge that has to be passed on at that time. For someone who's seeking the knowledge from the past that I've passed it on, maybe it wasn't the time for you to have that knowledge, and maybe the time is right now. Maybe this is a more precise set of knowledge that you needed, because back then I was also going through, everyone was going through a tumultuous time, and I was seeing people make choices that I could not understand, and I was also fighting a lot of inner demons. So take it for what it was. It was a time that the knowledge was shared in, and then the time was over, and I just knew when the time was over, and I moved on. You need to know this right now, because this might be more important for you. Anyway, so moving back, so everyone born of the Spirit. How can this be? Nicodemus asks. You are Israel's teacher, said Jesus. Do you not understand these things? I tell you the truth. We speak of what we know. And here, very strangely, Jesus is speaking in the we, as a collective. We speak of what we know, and it's so strange, right? He's not saying I, he's saying we. We speak of what we know, and we testify to what we have seen, but still you people do not accept our testimony. I have spoken to you of earthly things, and you do not believe. How then will you believe if I speak of heavenly things? Very rightly so. Right? This is so accurate right now. We were speaking of stimulating the earthly aspect, the physical aspect of the Mooladhara, which has psychological, spiritual ramifications, spiritual effects when you access physical spots in your body that you couldn't access before. You have psycho-spiritual effects of it. Okay, and when I say spirit, I mean complete immateriality, and we'll get to that as well someday. I have spoken to you of earthly things, and you do not believe. How then will you believe if I speak of heavenly things? No one has ever gone into heaven except the one who came from heaven, the Son of Man. He doesn't say he's Son of God over here. He says he's Son of Man. Now, the most interesting part. Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the desert, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, that everyone who believes in him may have eternal life. Okay, so Moses lifted up a serpent in the desert. That is such a strange thing to read. Let us read what that was about. Lifting a serpent on a staff. Where is it? I had made the dog ear tag. I'd never really liked doing it, but did I? No, I don't remember I think it was Leviticus, or this is Jacob's dream. Okay, I will